this meeting is about is to bring people together to talk about how we can begin to develop a serious and effective campaign against the infringements on our right to protest. We will not allow anyone to stand alone, because actually an attack on any protester is an attack on all, and it will weaken us all if they're able to get away with that.
This isn't conspiracy theory, it's perfectly rational government from their point of view. So the cops basically have been given a free hand, and that's what's happening. And it's a free hand to intimidate as much as it is to prosecute. I think they're breaking new ground now in terms of the actions that they're taking, because there's a boldness that they now have that they think they've got authority from the top to do that. That's the first thing. I just make this plea. In terms of practical actions, the first step, I think, is making sure people do have access to legal representation as rapidly as possible. I think it's important that we let MPs know, both in their constituencies and in Parliament as well, that people aren't going to lie down and take this attack on their civil liberties. Solidarity.
As a kind of violent thug anarchist, I'd like to say one thing. Do not ever let our movement be pacified by what I would call perhaps the pathology of pacifism, of people that say, oh, never lash out at the slave master, he'll hit us again. No. We will do what we need to do. It just so happens in Great Britain right now, we do not need to use any violence. The people who are using violence are utter scum. We are actually winning, guys. Don't ever forget we are on the winning side. We have the universe on our side. We have the moral high ground.
But no matter how much quiet outrage we can muster, this government is not going to turn around and say, oh, you can have the right to protest. All right, that's fine. Sorry, you know, we sort of took it, but now you can have it. That's not going to happen. You know, there is a concerted attack on dissent in this country. It's not just about protests. It's not just about going on marches or having occupations. It's about dissent in general. We need to be getting back out there and showing, even if we are afraid, we need to be pretending like we're not afraid and getting out there and doing more, you know, complaining, countering the narrative, fighting it, because otherwise they're going to come with this narrative of protest is evil and they're going to crush it, and that's going to have repercussions for generations, and it can't be allowed to happen.
Since November the 10th, we've seen this movement develop that is fueled by visceral class hatred at the injustice and inequality of what's being perpetrated by this government, and the police's role is to protect the rich and powerful, just like the government are doing. And they're using the kind of state of emergency, state of exception legislation that they've used for the war on terror, or the Criminal Justice Act that creates these special Section 60 situations that they can then use against protesters. And I think what they're trying to do to the protesters who they've arrested is a weird form of collective punishment. It's to punish all of us. The reality is they are the isolated minority that's prepared to use violence to achieve their ends, and we have to show that they're the isolated minority.